there are a few things in our world that go together really well. Peanut butter and jelly, socks and feet, and mosquitoes and the fiery pits of hell. No, okay. But actually, things that go together really well, Billy Crystal and John Goodman. Whoever would have thought that these two would actually go together so well? John Goodman and his stoic personality and dry humor with Billy Crystal's insane improv and really good one-liners make for a tag team that honestly is very unexpected. They portray the characters Mike and Sully, and they are one of my favorite duos in cinema. Actually, as a whole, Monsters, Inc. does really, really great with their characters. They have characters like Mike and Sully who are just bros to the end. They have Boo, who is a perfect representation of childhood imagination and personality, and they have Randall, who is one of the coolest villains in any kids movie. And I say kids movie, this movie really isn't a kids movie. It's definitely made for all audiences, and anyone can get something out of this film. The world building is phenomenal. It takes no time for them to establish the plot. It actually takes 6.5 minutes exactly for you to know everything that you need to know about this movie. It's a very impressive feat considering the movie is around an hour and a half long. And speaking of an hour and a half, there is nothing that happens in that hour and a half time that feels unwarranted, unnecessary, elongated, potentially slow or dry. The film continues its pacing very well through the entirety of it. In fact, we at every single moment see something new or interesting going on the screen, and some people argue that that's because it's in favor of children's mindsets and you need to keep things flowing on the screen for them. However, I argue that it's because of genius writing. Even adults don't get distracted by anything quite as much as what's going on screen. There's little tropes all around the scenes. You can look at posters and they're all meticulously put together so that there's names of the producers, or there's interesting little funny jokes that are displayed on the prompt boards, and there's so much going on, but enough that every time you rewatch the film, there's something new that you can experience. And let's really talk about rewatchability. This movie came out in 2001, that is 20 years ago, and surprisingly, it's aged extremely well. You could rewatch this and compare it to modern films of a similar animation style and still be completely satisfied. There's minor issues that you could complain about with the animation because it is dated, but it's not dated enough that it takes you out of the film. And it's a really impressive feat that Pixar was able to accomplish 20 years ago for a film that honestly has so much character and charm. Also, Pixar managed to do something in the 2000s that not a lot of other films did. The biggest example of another film that did this was The Road to El Dorado, and they did it very well. But this was a huge trope in the 2000s for some reason, that they would have the split of characters, or the breaking up of the band kind of syndrome. They did this in a way in the film that didn't feel unwarranted or unnecessary. You understand both characters' turmoil, and you understand why they would leave from a brief moment in time to get back together in a way that also makes sense. And they do it in roughly 4 minutes. This is something that other films will take hours to explain why they need to get back together, or even would make it the entire plot of the movie is that people are broken apart and need to get back together. That was huge in the 2000s, I don't know why, but this movie is definitely something that future companies should take a strong example from if they're ever to use that trope again. I do want to take us back to characters for a moment here and really talk about Mike and Sully. There's something so unique about their character design that makes you feel like they're human even if they are monsters. Some people like to contribute the jock aspirant to Sully, and some people like to call Mike the dumb nerd, but it's completely untrue that these two characters have nothing more to offer than that. They are very individualistic. They have no distinct personalities that make them one or the other. They are human. They are truly able to adapt, overcome to situations, admit faults, overcome obstacles, and it's something really charming because you can relate to these characters so well. Both of them bring their strengths and weaknesses to the table through every scene. You don't feel like one is controlling the overall smart side of the plot, or that they're both bringing the film down. They both do this uniquely in their own way. They both bring who they are to the table, and it's such a powerful thing that we don't see in a lot of other film. Also, side note on Mike, what do you think he tastes like? A lima bean or a grape? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm not trying to make this creepy, please don't go on that route, but I really do want to know. They use garbage deodorant, so maybe he tastes like a lima bean, but some people like that taste. Or maybe he does taste exactly like a grape because, you know, we're savory, why wouldn't they be sweet? Who knows? I am 1,000,000% going to get demonetized for cannibalism. No, that's a joke. Anyway, the film is really beautiful, and if you haven't watched it yet, you're definitely living under a rock. I mean, come on. The music? It will continue to be great forever. I genuinely think that of all Pixar films, Disney films, you name it, this one will stand the test of time as one of the best animated films ever made. My scoring on this film is a little weird. I'm having such a difficult time because I can't honestly find a flaw with this film, other than it comparing to other films, maybe it's not quite as good. Or when you think about how it leaves you feeling after watching it, maybe it doesn't have enough feeling. You know, it doesn't tell you anything, it doesn't make you want to go do something. But that's not to say that the film has any issue at all, because it doesn't. The film is a perfect film. So when you see my number at the end, don't get terribly mad at me. I think it's perfect. Okay, I really do. But comparing it to other film, it's really hard because there is a Pixar movie that I think reigns supreme, and I will be talking about that in a future video. Let me know what you guys think about Monsters, Inc. in the comments. For me, this is a movie that has been cherished in my heart for a very long time. And maybe it is for you, maybe it's not. Maybe you dislike the movie. Please let me know why. I genuinely want to know. Also, seriously let me know what you guys think Mike tastes like. Grape, lima bean, a leaf, who knows?